This news update is brought to you by
Grab somebody and tell them hello. Pure happiness will be connect to flow. Smile and cheer because that is we flow. Grab somebody and tell them hello. With your hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air. This is how we flow, yeah. Grab somebody and tell them this is how we flow.
This is the Barbados Today morning news for Friday, October 30th. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary-Claire Williams. The bidding war for Banks Holdings Ltd has taken a new twist. The Concerned Shareholders Group is now demanding answers after BHL directors issued a circular on Wednesday evening recommending that the shareholders accept the offer of $5.60 per share from SLU Beverages Ltd, which is owned by Ambev. That bid is 40 cents lower than the latest offer of $6 by Trinidad and Tobago conglomerate Ansa through its subsidiary AM Caribbean Development Ventures Limited. According to the circular, company directors Anthony King, Elvin Seeley, and Richard Cozier, along with BHL Chief Financial Officer Naresh Karnani, have all declared that their intention is to accept the SLU's amended offer. The BHL directors, in fact, warned of a negative impact on the company, the shareholders, and its employees. This suggests that SLU has the upper hand in light of rights guaranteed under a convertible debt purchase agreement. That deal saw SLU providing a $28 million loan to BHL in 2010 to build the new brewery in Newton, Christchurch. The agreement specifies that if any person or group becomes the direct or indirect ultimate owner of BHL shares, representing more than 25% of the total voting power, then SLU has the ability to require BHL to repurchase the 13.2 million common shares at $10 per share. The BHL directors also concluded that BHL businesses would fare better if Ambev took over. Management of the state-run Barbados National Oil Company is assuring residents in areas surrounding its Woodbourne oil fields in St. Philip that there is no need to fear over a major gas leak. In a letter delivered to residents last night, Technical Manager Mervyn Gordon said the leak is also not likely to pose any health risks. The letter said the leak occurred on Wednesday afternoon when BNOC workers were repairing an existing oil pipeline and one well was damaged.
We have started to pump the heavier brine fluid to control the well. Once we can get that done, we will have to give it a period of time to make sure that there's no gas coming out. Then we can go and weld a steel plate across the hole on the casing, and that should be a permanent solution.
Okay, so how soon you think this would all be over?
Well, it all depends. Wells are unpredictable, you know, the pressure is there. What happens is we have to be able to overcome the reservoir pressure, and we have managed to achieve that on a number of occasions, but because the weight of the fluid is what controls or keeps the gas back. The weight of the fluid has not been sufficient to keep it back long enough. What we're hoping for is this solution will. Okay,
it's essentially a gas well or oil well?
It's a gas well, and it has been an abandoned well since 2001. So it's a shut-in well, and it's just that over a period of time, the pressure built up. You know, normally if nothing had happened, we would just open it into the line to run down to the National Petroleum Corporation, and in about a day or two, it would just bleed down and be shut in again.
That was the BNOC's Technical Manager Mervyn Gordon speaking with Barbados Today's Emmanuel Joseph. The newly nominated BLP candidate for the Christchurch East Central constituency, Ryan Straughn, is swearing to work with his 4 colleagues of the five-constituency parish for a clean sweep in the next election. Straughn sailed through the nomination Wednesday night after 2 other candidates withdrew. BLP leader Mia Motley says she is supporting Straughn's candidacy because of his demonstrated analytical ability as an economist, as well as his entrepreneurial spirit.
And I therefore felt that I had a duty, not just to bring him because he was an economist, because there are many economists out there. But what I didn't understand was that it was the other things that he did that spoke to me about his character, about his courage, about his willingness to speak truth to power. And I pray that you do that regardless of who you speak to at all times. Those are the reasons that I asked the people of Christchurch Central to consider him, apart from the fact that he can give this country and this constituency 20, 25 or 30 years of service, however long you will have him.
Political scientist Dr. Tennyson Joseph tells local trade unions the time has come for them to reclaim their place as the vanguards of the workers' movement. Speaking against the background of what he called the most difficult intellectual and political climate of the Caribbean's labor movement, he urged workers' representatives to fight against the emergence of what he says was the new ideological worldviews that render trade unions obsolete.
As vanguards of the workers' movement, it is the duty and responsibility of the trade union movement to clarify its own ideas so that it is always conscious of the class outlook which separates those who purchase labor from those who sell the labor. It should never be forgotten that it is the role of trade unions as tools of national mobilization and as vanguard in providing the intellectual and activist leadership of our decolonization projects that determined the social democratic nature of the new independent states. This is why it is always laughable when the leaders of our political parties presume to lecture our trade unions about their roles in modern society. I always see this as a case of the child trying to straighten out the parent. It is even more laughable when trade unions forget their own history and make themselves servants of the political parties at the expense of the interests of their membership.
Joseph was delivering the 19th annual John Cumberbatch Memorial Lecture hosted by the Barbados Union of Teachers. Dominica's ambassador to the United Nations, Vince Henderson, is criticizing the organization's development arm over allocation of funds for regional energy projects. He was addressing the launch of the Barbados-based Caribbean Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency this week. Henderson blasted the UNDP over the allocation of $2 million as a revolving fund to help Caribbean businesses improve energy efficiency.
That, to my mind, is totally unacceptable. And we have to call them out. We have to call the partners who are not good actors. We have to call them out. We have to demand more from our institutions. We chastise CARICOM, we beat them up all over the place. But in this case, CARICOM has demonstrated to us that they can move as fast as the member states. They have moved on the establishment of ICRI as fast as we have dictated to them. And I want to thank you for that, Secretary General, and your team in the energy unit, especially Devon, who's been working with us for the past several months.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter. That's the move for me. Stability, prosperity. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
In news from the region, an election observer mission from the Organization of American States is in Belize to monitor next week's general elections. The mission is headed by the Chief of Staff to the Secretary General, Luis Almagro, Jacinth Henry Martin. Members will monitor electoral organization and other aspects of the electoral process. They will also gather information on the status of recommendations made by the last mission 3 years ago. The team will meet with electoral officials, representatives of political parties, government officials, and members of the media and civil society organizations. The government of Pakistan says it will offer compensation to survivors of Monday's powerful earthquake. Officials say at least 10,000 homes were destroyed by the quake, which struck Pakistan and northern Afghanistan. More in this report from the BBC.
Now what is left of what was once their home. Well, this is a typical mud brick house which has collapsed, as you can see. I mean, he's saying this was his home for 19 years. He lived here with his family, with his children. Traumatized and struggling to speak, Panos Khan told us how he lost 2 of his family members in the calamity.
We were having lunch over here when the earthquake struck. Most of us were outside, but my son was in there. My life is ruined. How will I ever rebuild this house? I have no money.
The Pakistani government has announced a relief package and compensation for survivors. The army says it has provided initial relief, but says more needs to be done to deliver tents and blankets.
We have not been able to provide them with the requisite relief which they actually deserve because with the meager resources which we have with my unit, we have distributed about 2 tons of ration and to 200 affected families.
It's now becoming clear that the scale of this disaster was thankfully limited in scope. But the trauma and loss these families have been through cannot be underestimated.
And that's the morning news. There's more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. You can catch us on Izumi Media in bus terminals or Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Also, tune into Channel 101 on Flow TV or Mix 96.9 FM. I am Maricla Williams. Good morning.